Alright guys, I'm back. Figured I'd do a video. Went to Bass Pro, got me some trail balls, finally. They didn't have much else powder in stock, no 4198 and 3031, no SR 4759, no 5744 I think it is in the book, nothing. I'm gonna have to order all that stuff online, but right now I'm concentrating on my wad cutters, trying to get those to shoot well because I really do enjoy shooting those. I just for S&G, I weighed out 12 grains of trail balls, put it in the case, and I think it's maybe about 50% case capacity. There's still a pretty good bit of air in there. So I was going to do Dacron filler. I'm lazy and cheap, and I really don't feel like going to anywhere. I have plenty of beeswax to make lube, so I have no need to go to like a craft store or anything to get Dacron. So I thought about just doing shot cards. I think they're called shot cards or wads. Honestly I don't know what they're called. They're little cardboard cards. I think they use them possibly in black powder applications. If there's airspace there, you put a card, some kind of filler like Dacron or something, I think, and then possibly another card, and then the bullet or something of that nature. I didn't want to buy these. I don't even know if anyone makes them. I didn't want to buy them. I know 45 ACP is similar dimensions. It's 45 caliber, but it's 451 or 452 versus 458. So I got to thinking, and I was like, I could probably make these out of like a soda pop box or something like that, or a soda can box. And God knows I got plenty of soda can boxes laying around here because I drink soda like it's going out of style. And pretty much a Pepsi can box. That's all I'm making them out of. But the way I made the tool, my fancy tool to cut those is took a 45 ACP case. I took my Lee expander die for 45 ACP, and I'll make a new case here real quick just to show you. Where's my brass at? So here's a fresh piece of brass. No chamfer, no case mouth expansion, nothing. Primer's out of it. Didn't do anything with the primer pocket. The only thing I could say is if you decide to take this route and use cards like this, it might be a smart idea to drill that primer pocket out to the size of the pocket so you can fit something other than a small piece of wire through there. Maybe say like a decapping pin or like a small screwdriver, so you can easily push the cards out. This I can cut 2 cards and push them out with this twisty tie. I thought I had mechanics wire here at the house, but I don't see any. But anyway, it'd be easier if that primer pocket was bigger, and I could use something bigger to push out the cards. So it's literally, ran my die down, started expanding the case mouth, and I was measuring, and it's hard to measure on the belled mouth. So I figured, alright, well, these are size 458, and ideally that's the size I would like those cards to be. If they're slightly bigger, that's fine. It's cardboard, it'll crush down. I want them to be a compression fit. Or kind of a press fit. It's cardboard, so it's not much of a press fit, but I kind of wanted it to be a press fit so it actually holds the powder against the primer versus just being a card flopping around in the case. So what I ended up doing was setting it up so the gas check kind of just barely slips in there. It's not really holding, well, I guess it is kind of holding that bullet. I'm not counting on it holding it, but it's about 458. It's big enough where it should work. And then I just took my Lyman multi-tool, and you go on the inside of the case and you cut a good bit of it out. You know, you get yourself a nice little edge there. Now this doesn't have to be a razor sharp edge. The way this stuff is, the brass rather, how thick it is, you could honestly, against the right surface, you could probably still cut through the cardboard. I just put this edge on there because it cuts cleaner and it doesn't roll the lip on the outside edge as much. To me, it's a cleaner cut. So, outside and then inside. I'm more concerned with inside because I want the outside of the card to be a cleaner cut. So I'm more concerned with how smooth the inside of the cut is. And I know you're probably not going to be able to see that because my lighting is horrible. Sorry guys, I'm not the best cameraman here. So it's not like a crazy chamfer on the inside edge there. feel it with your finger. If it feels fairly sharp, that's not too bad. Now what I was doing is I have lead blocks on the floor down here. So give me a second. And I'll try and set you guys up on the floor down here so you can see what I'm doing. Alright, so we'll come down here. And let me see if I can get you pointed towards the blocks. Alright, so I got a couple lead blocks, and I've been doing a little bit of work down here. So it's pretty much as simple as, I like lead. You could probably use wood in all honesty. Take your case, face it down. I'm not even going to try it with my finger because I want to keep my fingers intact if I can. And give it a couple taps. It'll pull it out with the cardboard in there. Take my little twisty tie, push them out. And you can see I got 2 cards out of that. So what I'll do now is, this is a freshly resized piece of 4570 brass, and it doesn't slide right down in the case. Like it's holding in there. It's not flipping on its side, and I can't blow it out. So in my eyes, that's a pretty good fit in the case. That's ideally what I'd like it to fit like right now. If I decide later, oh great, I got stuck. Yeah, see? I mean, it is just a twisty tie, but they usually just push right out of the case. I'm going to have to get that out in a little bit. Ideally, that's what I want it to fit like. I want it to be fairly tight in that case. So, you just really put it up here, and you just start punching them out. Now, I don't want it to fill up inside the case of the cutter. I don't want it to fill up inside there because I'm afraid it's going to roll the edges over and make them loose fitting. So I just cut 2, pop them both out, put them in my pile, go back, cut more, and that's what I've been doing so far, is just doing it that way. If you need to try it a different way, that's fine, but the whole purpose of this is to hold powder against the primer in my 4570 case, because they don't fill case capacity that well. So I want these to be as tight fitting as they can be, and you gotta remember it's 4570 and it's still gonna recoil pretty good. So I don't know if these are gonna pop out or move around in the case. That's to be seen, but I'm gonna try these before I try the Dacron. These are free, so if I can make these work and not have to use Dacron, that would be absolutely awesome. But we'll see how it works out. For right now, I'm going to make a bunch of these and maybe load 50 rounds up and see if I can get a good burn out of the powder, so I don't have to worry about the powder sticking up my action and screwing up the action in the rifle, and me not being able to cycle it and put different loads in it. But I figured I'd do a real quick video on that. Now, this idea with this case, I know for a fact that I'm not the first to think of this. I can't remember where I got this idea from, but it is not my idea. I've seen it somewhere before. I want to say maybe on the Cast Bullets forum, but I'm not positive. It might have been in one of the hand loader magazines. I've seen it before, I just don't remember where. So there's tons of good information out there. If you're willing to take the time to find it, there's a lot of good information between regular published handbooks, like paper books, actual books, and between the internet. I mean, some of the stuff on the internet, you got to know how to tell the BS from the straight shooters and stuff like that, but you'll learn over time. I've always referred, when I have any kind of issue with anything and I need an idea, I try and browse through my books that I have, and I only have a handful, but I try and browse through them and try to find a solution. If I can't find a solution, I have a very good mentor that we go back and forth through email, and he tries to help me out as best he can, and he does a very good job. It's always nice to have someone to swap ideas with, but there's been enough shooters for a long enough time where pretty much everything's been thought of. So if you have a problem that someone's encountered before, which is very likely, it's probably already been figured out. So if you're willing to do the research, you could probably find a solution without having to learn the hard way. But we'll see what happens. I didn't really dig that deep to see if these wad cards worked in lighter loads in a 4570. I'm having trouble kind of finding any data for that, like real, not data, any, well, I guess you could call it data, anyone really doing anything with it, but we'll see what happens. I'm hoping it works. If this doesn't work, like I said, I'll try Dacron, I'll try something else. I'll try Trail Boss, you know, whatever. I just want to see if I can get a better burn out of the powder and make the 322 work, because I have a decent amount of it. So stick with me, guys, and we'll see what happens.